And welcome to a murky late February day in North Louisiana. 8 years ago, I built a snowman out in the yard. Yeah, he had night vision, ammunition holes for his mouth, his eyes, AR-15 with a custom silencer. It's a cool picture. Maybe I'll find it and put it up here. But today it's about high of 77. I'm working at home in the shop, and I thought, is this an opportunity to make some content? I'm gonna be sitting here for a few hours making a net. I didn't know if it would be any interest in how to make a paramotor net. That's what I'm doing. I guess it's paramotor content. For example, I made this net years ago. I've tied 2, 3, but I got some different cordage. I wanted to go ahead and knock this one out. My net needle was full of the gray. It's 200-pound test, basically fishing line, but it's ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. Same thing they make paraglider line out of. All your Dyneema, your Spectra, things of that nature are made out of that particular molecular structure. And so if you get cordage that's made from that chemical, it's gonna have the same properties as the brand name stuff that you can get. Cordage and webbing and braids, and you can get it in all sort of different stuff. Yeah, the stuff that comes inside of these, made out of the same material. Yeah, polyethylene, polymers are such neat. I don't get me chemistry nerding out here. There's a couple of knots. I looked at a YouTube video as how I learned to make a paramotor net. It's basically an offshoot of a hoop net from fishing. So if you got a hoop net structure, that's what the basis of it is. You're making a big circular net to go around. That's the way I like to make the nets. There are different ones. Now, if this kind of net becomes damaged, there's pros and cons. It's hard to fix. I say hard. It requires same sort of knitting techniques that you make the net to do a good repair. You tie in and you gotta have the right kind of jig. If it's the same size jig, you can make a real neat repair on a net, such as the one featured in this hoop right here. But on a quick and dirty, if you damage a net like this, and I mean, if it's not completely shredded, you can just take zip ties and zip up all the loose parts and then all the loose loops, zip them up, and then trim off the excess net. It's a funny story. A guy came for training some years ago. Forgive me, I can't remember exactly who it was. I know his face. I had to go back and look. I didn't know what year this was. He said he bought a paramotor. He had not flown it yet. And when he got here, it was severely damaged. And I was like, I thought you hadn't flown it yet. It was new. He's like, yeah, I cranked it in the yard, and he did have it on. But it got away from him and he fell down with it, and it just pushed him over. He wasn't ready for it. You know, it's something that, like, just coming to the school before you crank it may be a thing that prevents damage. He wasn't injured, but his net was shredded. So I had something to do that day, and I handed him a pack of these zip ties. I was like, look, I want you to make a zip tie net out of this, because the machine wasn't damaged such that it was unflyable, but we needed to tame the end so that nothing else got sucked back in or flexed different. Ultimately, he completed his training, and that was all fine and dandy, but that always made me think about the convenience of this type of net. Yeah, the ones that thread inside the hoops are probably my least favorite nets. So, like the Fresh Breeze, for example, had these little tiny holes, and you had to take a piece of wire and make a hook out of it, thread it into a hole, and grab the line and pull it back out. And it was a very tedious, time-consuming process. I don't know that actually tying a net like this, it's a little longer, but you got a whole net. If you're doing 4 quadrants, it might work out to about the same time if you're pretty salty at net making and you got calluses in the right spot. But that's probably my least favorite kind of net. The kind that go into this, this is a Maverick hoop. It's like a PEX tube, like a water line. It's got some rigidity. I really like the attach method for that net. Like, it holds good, it holds plenty tight enough. Strong cordage on the inside. I like what they got going. I like what they throwing with the hoop and the netting attachment on that. Otherwise, you used to have to use rivets or loops or something welded onto the frame. I like this setup better. It's easier, it's quicker. If you've never taken one off, it's interesting. Now, the nets that used to come on Mavericks weren't that strong, hence the replacement. Like, the wind blew it over and the net broke. It wasn't a sturdy item. I like them to be a bit more sturdy than that. So there's flaws with every machine. I don't want to get on the side topic of paramotors and machines and all that, but let me just set the camera up somehow or damn another. I got nothing to set it on. I have to find a stool. Let me show you how, just real quickly, what the process looks like. Just to give you kind of a zoomed out view of what's going on. So I'm pulling off screen, I'm pulling this. Situational awareness, figure out where you're at. And then it looks like I need to reach under here and grab the next loop. I'm gonna pull that tight against the board. Then I'm gonna throw my loop and go behind it. Pull tight and throw my loop and go through the middle of it and pull tight. First knot goes around, cinch it tight, and the next knot goes through. It's locked. And then you pick up the next one. You pull it tight, pull tight against the board, go behind it, tight, and go through the middle and lock it. Next one, and now is where I got to feed out a little line from my net needle. All right. This good content? It's the same thing I'm doing over and over. Now when you get to the end, you can either make the net bigger, smaller. We're keeping it the same size. It's just paramotor hoop, so we don't want it to get fatter like you would a regular hoop net. We're kind of just going from the outside inward. This is a 2-inch net board. I'm making 2-inch diamond square. That's what's going to come out of there. That's appropriate, I think. It's good cost benefit between drag resistance and safety, keeping lines and toggles and little leaves and things, gloves from going in the propeller. That's what net's for. It's not for you. Don't ever get confused about that. What else can we say about paramotor netting? You know, it needs to be in the right spots. If you're in a spot where you got stuff that can go back, netting's good. Just because there's gaps in it doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative. If it'll stop the main stuff from hitting from the important parts, that's probably acceptable. You know, sometimes just touching the net lets you know situational awareness, like, oh, get kind of close there, get kind of close there. And then sometimes they pop open for no reason, can't ever figure it out. Something explodes, cuts them, they get tangled up, it's a mess. That's the Kylo video on nets. What else can I say? Paramotor nets. Enjoy, y'all. Thanks for watching. Sorry it was such a stupid video. I gotta make, let's see, how many more am I gonna make on this? I might do 3 or 4 more rows. I might act this thing out in the afternoon. I thought it was gonna take me 2 days, but I'm having fun sitting here. It's rainy outside. I got nothing going on. I'll see y'all soon in the next one. Much love. Kyle out.